This episode of Now This Is Lit is brought to you by Audible. Check the link in the description to get your first Star Wars audiobook free. Everyone loves free things. Click that link. Do it. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. You're listening to Now This Is Lit, a podcast about Star Wars books, the people who make them, and the readers who just can't get enough of them. I'm your host, Meg Dowell. I use she, her pronouns. And today is New Star Wars Book Day, times 3. That's a lot. That's a lot of books coming out all in one day, but I'm not upset about it. Before we talk about the book I will be reviewing today, which is Crimson Climb by E.K. Johnston, let me also let you know what else is coming out today. There's a cookbook called Star Wars: The Ultimate Cookbook. I do not have this book yet. I did not get a review copy of this book, which is fine. It is currently on its way, so perhaps we will talk about that book in some capacity later on. Not now, but that is out, and as someone who has some of the Inside Edition Star Wars cookbooks already, not all of them, I think I'm missing 1 or 2 at this point, and I have to get those, but highly recommend. Love looking at the recipes, working on making some of them. We're getting there. They're really fun, and it's really fun to be able to make Star Wars food. But we're not talking about that today, are we? We're also talking about The High Republic, Jedi Brave in every way. This is by Rosemary and Charles Soule. That's fun. This is a young reader's book. It's adorable. Thank you to Disney Books for sending that to me. I was not expecting it, but then it showed up and I was like, hey, look, The High Republic. And we all love The High Republic. So praise, love. That is also out today. Now let's get into Crimson Climb, because that is hopefully the book that most fans will be talking about today, as you should. This is my spoiler-free review of the book because it comes out today, so that's I'm gonna review it today. And here's that. No spoilers, because I think you really need to read the whole thing all the way through to the end to really, really appreciate it. When survival is your only objective, and you'll do anything to make survival easier, what happens when you have to start sacrificing others to save yourself? E.K. Johnston's Crimson Climb is a fast-paced tale of trauma, resilience, and self-discovery. Han and Qi'ra have just been separated, and she now finds herself back in the White Worm sewers, unsure of whether she will live or die. Her journey from those sewers to becoming a trusted companion of Dryden Voss is truly a climb. Until now, we didn't get to see how Qi'ra ended up on that yacht. Now we get to see that entire sequence of events, or read, rather. It's brutal. It's heartbreaking. It's also more Qi'ra. And really, who's going to complain about that? Qi'ra was brilliantly written here, and Johnston points to Ray Carson and Mur Lafferty for helping to expand and enrich the character in their own books, featuring her in the acknowledgments. The author took that source material and ran with it, in a good way. Reading those 2 books, and then going straight into this one, Qi'ra is the same. Familiar, as if 3 different authors hadn't been responsible for writing her in books. That's hard to do, but certainly not impossible. The High Republic writers do it. We see it again in this book, and it's comforting, and then Johnston gets to develop the character even further, and she does a good job. For some context, the book takes place over about a 1.5-year time span, from that moment in the Solo movie where Han and Qi'ra are separated, onward, but not quite leading up directly to where we meet up with her again in the movie. That's 13 BBY to 12 BBY, for anyone who's asking. Some of this book feels like you're reading a video game, and I personally love that. It's also all about crime syndicates, so if you like drama of the organized crime variety in Star Wars, you're going to lose your mind over this book in a good way. I've enjoyed E.K. Johnston's past Star Wars books, so I had a feeling I was going to like this one too, but I may have liked it more than I expected to. I will say that the book is much more action-heavy and suspenseful than her past novels, so if that was an issue for you before, it may be less of a hang-up with this one. It's still the same author though, so if you're really not a fan of her writing in general, which is fair, you don't have to like everything, There's a chance you won't love this book if that's the case. But I can't speak for you personally, so I encourage you to give it a try. I'd also encourage you to give this book a try, even if you've had other issues with this author's previous books. I read Crimson Climb with common fan criticisms in mind, and personally didn't find the issues many people have pointed out in other books in this book. But I'm just one person, so I can't speak outside of my own experience or any further on that. Do let me know if you disagree when you read it, though. Let's talk about it. We are a community for a reason. Other things about this book I liked. The characters. E.K. Johnston is a master at building interesting and complex characters, and not just with her main characters either. Her stories are composed of full casts of characters who work together as an ensemble to drive the story forward. And in this book, it works exceptionally well. This book really relies on Kira not knowing who she can trust or if she can trust anyone, and you have to be able to create sympathy for certain characters who may or may not end up being on the right side of things. And Johnston just, she does that really well in all of her books, and in this one too. I loved that although Kira was reminded of Han at different points in the story, she doesn't spend the entire book thinking about him or constantly trying to get to him. E.K. Johnston isn't perfect, no author is, no writer will ever be, but she would never let a female character's entire personality revolve around a man like that. I'm mostly joking, but it made such a difference with Padme Amidala in the Queen's books, and it matters for Kira too. Kira has other priorities. Han is at this point presumably safe as Han Solo will ever be, and she can't afford to expend valuable energy worrying about him. She has to worry about herself. And I loved learning more about Crimson Dawn and how it operates. There's so much interesting lore here. More, please. I can't wait to read this book again someday. I'm sure there are a lot of small details I missed, since I actually could not put it down once I started. It was like less than 24 hours I read this entire book, I'm pretty sure. It's truly something special, and I hope you give it the chance it deserves. You might even find things about it that you like. You could fall in love with it. There's only one way to find out. Crimson Climb by E.K. Johnston is available now wherever you get your Star Wars books. Stay tuned for more book-related content. That's what we do here on the show, and by we, I mean me. I mean, I do have a producer now, but I do most of it because I can't give up full control of anything because I am who I am. Lots of exciting interviews coming up. Some I may not even know about yet. Yeah, we'll see. But we're getting ready for the High Republic. We're gonna celebrate Halloween in a really fun way. I'm not one for celebrating Halloween usually too much, but it's October 31st on a Tuesday. I could not release an episode and not do something spooky, as they say. So that's coming up too. October and November, and I guess December are going to be full of very fun Star Wars book related things. So if you're not subscribed to the show and or to the Substack, what are you doing? Fix that. You're not going to want to miss any of this. It's gonna be lit. Now This Is Lit is part of the Faraway Fandom Network. It is produced by Devor Mondum and written, hosted, and edited by me. Jose Jimenez designed our podcast art. Keep up with the show on Substack at starwarslitpod.substack.com and find the show wherever you get your podcasts. You can support the show by starting your free Audible trial, by getting this book or any Star Wars book with my affiliate links on bookshop.org. That is super helpful. Substack is free. Right now, there's only free content on it, but you can support the show through that too if you want. No pressure. I know it's really hard to be alive right now. I get it, but that's also why I ask. It never hurts to ask, you know? For more book reviews and Star Wars book celebration, follow Star Wars Book Reviews on Instagram.